Choosing the most iconic cars in Formula One history is really tough. There have been so many incredible cars. I mean, any car really that wins a world championship, I think by default becomes iconic because it's associated with that season. Furthermore, as well, you could potentially have two cars. You could have a driver who won a championship in one car and then a team that won the constructors in another. Although in this regard, Formula One does normally err on the side of the driver because they are the champion. The team's champion is often forgotten. For example, Mercedes in 2021, I don't think they were really celebrating winning the Constructors' Championship, which of course was a huge achievement and a historic milestone. They're 8th in a row. That's never been done before and will not be done anytime soon again. But they were very much lamenting the fact that they lost the Drivers' World Championship. But with that in mind, I've got 5 examples of the most iconic Formula One cars of all time, true champions of their era that have defined Formula One throughout its 75-year run. I've got 5 from 5 different manufacturers, and we're going to start with the Mercedes W196. Of course, Mercedes have been incredibly successful in Formula One since they came back to the sport as a constructor back in 2010, but of course this was not their first dominant era. Of course, they were involved in Formula One for a couple of years in 1954 and 1955, and their W196 has rightfully gone down as one of the best Formula One cars of all time. The true dream team of its era, getting the likes of Juan Manuel Fangio, a man who would win 5 world championships, a record that would stand all the way until the early 2000s, the likes of Sir Stirling Moss in the car as well. It was truly a dream team, and as well, they got the best drivers in the best car as well, and that definitely applied to the W196. It dominated the sport in the mid-1950s thanks to cutting-edge engineering and aerodynamic understanding that was well ahead of its time. The car's streamlined bodywork for high-speed circuit and exposed wheel configuration for tighter tracks demonstrated early adaptability concepts. Yes, guys, believe it or not, Formula One was not always an open-wheel championship. It is nowadays, but back in the 196's era, you could go with closed wheels. Fangio took back-to-back championships in 1954 and 1955, and its dominance was only halted by the Le Mans disaster in 1955, causing Mercedes to withdraw from motorsport. If that didn't happen and they kept going, they probably would have dominated Formula One well into the 1960s at least. But let's go ahead now to the 1970s, the Lotus 72. Lotus are one of the most successful Formula One constructors of all time, and the 72 is possibly the best car they ever produced, and there's some serious competition for that accolade. Of course, the 72 ran for 6 years in total. It was started in 1970 and was run all the way in Formula One until 1975, amassing 20 victories during that time. Jochen Rindt took the car to its first world championship in 1970. Of course, Rindt is the only posthumous world champion, and he passed away during the Italian Grand Prix that year. Emerson Fittipaldi also took it to his first Formula One World Championship in 1972 as well. There were 6 variants of this car as well to keep it up to date with the times, with an A, B, C, D, E and GF variants that innovated upon what was already an iconic design in Formula One. The 72 pioneered the wedge-shaped chassis, something that to an extent is still used in Formula One to this day, low at the front and high at the back, what engineers term rake these days. This solution improved downforce and reduced the aerodynamic drag that the car produced. Next up to the 1980s, the McLaren MP44. As close to perfection as you can ever get. I mean, when I spoke about Mercedes being a dream team in the 1950s, McLaren were very much a dream team as well in the late 1980s. Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna took the MP44 to 15 wins out of 16 races in 1988. Powered by a 1.5 litre V6 turbocharged engine from Honda, this was very much the dominant car in the era, and would have won every single round that season if it wasn't for a freak Italian Grand Prix. The chassis was a low-line carbon fibre monocoque, which allowed Gordon Murray, the designer, to lower the driver's seating position dramatically, improving aerodynamics and the centre of gravity of the vehicle. The design gave the MP44 a sleek profile that maximised efficiency on both fast straights and in high-speed corners, and it looked absolutely stunning as well. It's a shame Formula One cars don't look like this anymore. Next up, Williams. And of course, we've got to talk about their 1992 entry, the FW14B. Now, this was very much the cutting edge of technology, and in some senses, this car was more technologically advanced than the cars of today, thanks to active suspension that was exploited to the nth degree by designer Adrian Newey. Its Renault V10 engine and semi-automatic gearbox made it the most efficient car of its era, and Nigel Mansell absolutely dominated the championship during this time. He took his only world championship in '92, winning 9 times in 16 races that year, with 14 pole positions. Only twice was he not on the pole. Mansell took the championship with 5 races still remaining, which at the time was a record for the earliest championship. And the last one for you guys, we can't talk about Formula 1 without a Ferrari, and I'm picking out the F2004, the fastest Formula 1 car for many, many years. I think only really surpassed recently in the last few years in terms of its overall speed, and even then, of course, it had grooved tyres, whereas nowadays we have full slicks in the drive. So arguably, the F2004 might well be the fastest Formula 1 car ever to this day. That is a test I would love to see be carried out by a Formula 1 driver. Will it ever happen? No, absolutely no chance, but you'd love to see it happen. I've mentioned the term Dream Team a few times here, and Ferrari, of course, were known as the Dream Team during this era as well. Jean Todt heading up the team, Rory Byrne, Aldo Costa and Ross Brawn working on the technical side as well, and of course Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello in the car as well. We don't need to tell you about how good Michael Schumacher was back in the day. 7 world championships, 91 victories are both records at the time. Still a joint record with Sir Lewis Hamilton with regards to his championship total, and the F2004 powered Schumacher to his 7th and final world championship and his 5th in a row, a record that will continue to stand, of course, because Max Verstappen is not going to be able to match that this year, I do not think. This was a screaming marvel. That Ferrari V10 engine produced around 19,000 RPM and 900 horsepower in general. Again, not too far off the totals of what we see today in modern Formula 1. It was relentlessly reliable. Schumacher absolutely walked the championship that year, even by his standards. I believe he won the championship at the French Grand Prix, unless I'm mistaken, where he also did a 4-stop race. It was just groundbreaking, and it was so beautiful as well. That car is stunning to this day. When choosing between a 2025 Ferrari and a 2004 Ferrari, I know which one I would put on my bedroom wall. And I'm sorry, but it's not the one that Charles Leclerc and Hamilton are driving around at the moment. But yeah, those are my picks, guys, for 5 of the most iconic Formula 1 cars of all time. Like I said, so hard to narrow this down. Get your favorite of all time in the comments below. So many more I could talk about, but this video is already long enough. Like, share, comment, subscribe, guys, if you want to see more of this. Have a fantastic day wherever around the world today. See you very soon.